and welcome back to the most amazing channel on the internet. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate, and it was about time we did this video. That's right, today we are finally talking about the top 10 Norwegian urban legends. Norway has such a long and rich culture and is filled to the brim with folklore and legends, so I'm really excited for this video. But before we get into it, I want you guys to let me know what scary ghost stories you have in your town. Also, please do leave a thumbs up button and share this video with a friend, and if you guys want to connect with me on social media, there is a link to my Instagram in the description box. Disclaimer, I'm sorry Norway if I pronounce stuff wrong. Coming into number 10, we have the demon dog of the Akershus fortress. Did I say that right? Built in the 1300s, the castle of Akershus was paramount in defending Oslo. Later, the building became a prison with rumors of cruelty rife. The Nazis occupied the building in World War II also. The fortress is said to be rife with ghosts, including a faceless robe-wearing woman. The most popular legend is that of the demon dog called Malkanison. Malkanison is a bad omen, and the legend goes that if you see the shaggy stray, you will die a horrible death at some point over the next 3 months. Great, this might be the only dog that I don't fancy stroking. Usually I'm like, yay, dogs, but no, boo the Deathbringer. Coming in at number 9, we have the Draugen. The Draugen is a figure from Norse mythology that many Norwegians still believe in today. The Draugen is a seafaring phantom, the ghost of a person who is said to have died at sea. The Draugen is said to be seen on stormy nights trying to get to shore on a splintered and wrecked boat. The face of a Draugen is said to be fish-like with black eyes and with seaweed hair. It is said that those who sail in a storm are likely to encounter the Draugen, who will draw them in, suck them into a whirlpool and pull them beneath the water, drowning them and taking their vessels. These fishermen and sailors are then said to rise through the water as Draugen themselves. Surrounded by ocean, you can imagine why this legend is so popular and so terrifying in Norway. Bad children, beware of the Draugen at number 8. The Draugen is an urban legend to keep kids in check. Ladies and gentlemen, kids, teens, brace yourself. The Draugen is a toilet spirit, a slimy, malevolent monster that hides inside the U-bend, a bit like a cross between Moaning Myrtle and Mr. Hanky the Christmas Pooh. It seems that the Draugen originated in the 1970s. Sometimes the creature is depicted as a serpent, sometimes as a ghost. Whatever the shape, the Draugen is said to prey on bad kids. If a child's been acting out, the Draugen is said to drag them away down the sewers. Yikes. Coming in at number 7, we have dark elves. Norse mythology was all about an elf. Elves have been part of Norwegian folklore for thousands of years, and they come in both benevolent and malevolent forms. Light elves are said to be mini-gods of nature that bring love and light and inspiration. These elves were good craftsmen and said to be kind in so many ways. However, we aren't here to talk about the good stuff because this is scary Norwegian urban legends. These good elves do also have the ability to be harmful to humans if they annoy them. They can easily cause illnesses. However, it is the dark elves you want to watch out for. Known as Svartalfheim, these elves are ugly beings that turn to stone in sunlight, so instead they live in dark, gloomy areas. These elves are said to taunt animals, especially horses, making them bolt. They're also said to give humans terrible nightmares. Whether anyone to this day truly believes in them still or not, the dark elves are often blamed for scary dreams. A classic at number 6, we have the Kraken. The Kraken isn't a modern day urban legend, it's an ancient tale from Norse mythology and folklore, but it is still a popular tale today. The Kraken is a sea monster of giant size and epic proportion that is said to live between the coasts of Norway, Sweden, Iceland and Greenland. The creature, whose name translates to an unhealthy animal, is said to be 1.5 miles wide and would take down even the biggest and most equipped of ships, sucking them into the bottom of the ocean. Like with the legend of the Draugen, the Kraken came from a fear of the ocean. Back in the Viking ages, seafaring was important but dangerous. Days at sea often played tricks on sailors, and the fear of the brutality of nature was better realized when they could give a face to the danger they were in. While the Kraken is an ancient tale, people were convinced of its presence as recently as the early 1900s. These days, Otherwise, I'm not sure if anyone in Norway still believes this legend, but they love talking about it still. Coming into number 5, this is a very modern one. We have the Haunted Travel Agency. It seems that ghosts need a little break too. I'm guessing that actually haunting's kind of exhausting. Maybe that's exactly what the ghouls haunting a travel agency in the Norwegian town of Moss wanted. Unfortunately, the pesky living souls were all scared and called in clairvoyants to help rid them of the wanderlusty spectres. Marianne Harland Bogdanoff, a skeptic who managed the travel agency, had her beliefs altered when she experienced weird goings-on at her workplace. She said that computers broke down for no reason and that strange smells started wafting through the office. Staff members would complain of headaches and heard strange noises. IT technicians, electricians and plumbers came to check out the building but couldn't find the source. Staff never saw the ghost, but they certainly felt it. Eventually, a clairvoyant cleansed the office and the spirits seemed to vanish. In the same town, a woman who worked at the tourism board said that the German language brochures always ended at the top of the pile, despite there being very few German-speaking people in the town. Eventually, it was discovered that a German soldier had worked in the same building during the Nazi occupation of Norway. Coming in at number 4, we have the tortured souls of Leers Psych House. The Leers Psych House is an old mental asylum in the city Drammen. The imposing building closed its doors in the 1980s and it's creepy and abandoned today. The building is thought to have tortured patients with experimental drugs like LSD. It is also said that some patients were given lobotomies. With a dark past comes a dark energy. A lot of people who have explored the abandoned building are totally convinced that it is haunted. People have seen apparitions, felt cold hands touch their bodies, and even heard screams echoing down empty corridors. This is one place that I would not like to visit in Norway. Coming into number 3, we have the legend of Pester. Pester is like the Norwegian Grim Reaper and came around in Norse folklore following the horrifying Black Death. The Black Death killed half the population of Norway, so you can understand why the Norwegians gave the brutal illness, the bringer of death, a human face. They did it so they could better understand it. Pester is the character they invented, and these days she's considered to be a general death omen like the Grim Reaper. She is characterized as being haggard, ashen-faced, and wearing a red skirt. She carries a broomstick and a rake. The legend from the Plague era goes that if you saw Pester with a rake, there was some hope that some of your community would survive, but if she yielded a broom, then there was no hope for any of you. These days, Pester is still talked about as a deathbringer, and a lot like the Grim Reaper, once she's seen, she's unavoidable. Coming into number 2, we have the Headless Monk of Trondheim. This is perhaps the most famous ghost in Norway. The Cathedral of Nidarosdomen is situated in the Norwegian city of Trondheim and dates back to the medieval times. The church was restored in 1814, and somewhere along the way it attracted a ghost. Standard cathedral practice, really. The monk is a menace and is said to want to choke people on sight. In 1924, a bishop's wife saw the monk as she attended a church service at the cathedral. She described the man as very attractive with a sharp face and piercing blue eyes. He placed his hands round the priest's throat and tried to strangle him as he gave a sermon. Members of the choir and churchgoers saw hands around the man's neck, but not all saw the figure. The bishop's wife then realized the monk was bleeding heavily from the neck. Since this sighting, other people have reported seeing the monk, who appears to attempt to strangle people he takes a disliking to. Some have seen him without a head altogether, which is pretty terrifying. Finally, coming into number 1, part urban legend and part deep mystery today, we have the Isdal Woman of Death Valley. Isdalen Valley in Bergen, Norway is colloquially called Death Valley. The location was a popular suicide spot in the medieval times and also a dangerous place to hike in the fog, meaning a lot of people have accidentally fallen to their deaths. Rumour of the spot being haunted are of course rife, but that isn't the most terrifying thing about this place. In November of 1970, a man walking with his 2 daughters found the badly burned body of a woman. The woman was found lying on her back in a remote area and only her front was burned, her back strangely wasn't. Also strangely, jewellery had been placed around the woman. Clothes were found nearby, burned and with the labels cut out. very strange. Stranger still, police investigating her death found 2 suitcases at Bergen railway station. One contained prescription-free glasses and a fingerprint that matched the woman's. The case also contained a number of different currencies and several wigs. Police later found the unidentified woman stayed at a number of different hotels using 8 fake names and passports. One shoe store owner remembers her smelling strongly of garlic. Despite all of the strange evidence and speculation that she may be a spy, the police closed the case. What happened to her, who she was, and why she was killed, we don't know, but the people of Norway have a lot to say on the topic. So guys, that was such an interesting list. Where should we make an urban legends video about next? Let me know in the comments section down below. So speaking of comments, I wanted to read some comments from one of my most recent videos, the Scary Chicago Urban Legends. Matthew Avils has just realised that he is the centre in a worldwide Truman Show. He wrote, "I got a notification about this video on my way to Chicago. Long inhale through nose." That's right, we made it all for you. Watch out. Matt Fraser 1983 wrote, "I live in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I would love it if you could do either a Nova Scotia Urban Legends or a Halifax Urban Legends. I love your channel, I watch it every day." Ooh, hello Halifax! I literally just went to Halifax and I learned all about it. I learned about the bomb blast, I learned about the fort. It was really, really cool and I had some good seafood. I also went to Peggy's Cove, which was beautiful, so a big shout out to Halifax there. I don't know, are there spooky things going on? Let me know, maybe we should do it. I'd like that. So guys, thank you for tuning into this video. Once again, do please leave a thumbs up if you like this comment and share it with a friend. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate and I'll see you in the next video.